Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another WWE Champions video. Today is, I don't think polls because the loot isn't here, but more so, I want to talk about the new showdown system that they've kind of implemented. Um, yeah, I got two polls here. Let's see if we get anything good. The new showdown system that they implemented, where the idea is that you pretty much get your brackets placed depending on how you are in the male and female showdown. These two right here. See how you place, and that's where you are in the showdown for this one. And that's how they make their brackets. And on paper, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. However, first test of it, obviously I do know that Scopely for them, this is a play test technically of it. We don't know if they will bring it back, but this is kind of my perspective on this and why, to me at least right now, it probably should not come back. The reason why I say that is because, I mean, with it being dependent on, these two, for instance, female, I'm 32 in the world right now, and I will get my two more soon, but I'm 32 in the world. Um, and the male, I'm 26 in the world, right? So I mean, I'm in that top 50. I'm actually more so top 40. And once at one point, right the night before the bracket, the showdown we just had came out, I was rank 1 for a brief period on the male. And I think the lowest I was like rank 11 for the female. And the reason why I want to talk about this and how this I don't think is going to work um, as a system is strictly just because it depends on where you are, right? Uh, Considering I got top three, number three in my bracket, considering I was maybe like top 20 in the world for that bracket or something like that, top 50, something like that. What if you didn't do that? Is what I'm kind of referring to here, and I think this is the biggest issue. Is if higher players, yeah, they get higher, they'll be in higher brackets. Great. If I intentionally do not go that high, and I just go high enough, because if you look, there was like bracket of league, like because there were leagues for the bracket all the way to 11 was the highest for it, and 7 and 6 I think were like samples for the the normal kind of weak loots, and if you were in the 8 to 11 there was Joe pulls. Well, I think I was obviously in 11. Well, what if I went to the 8th and I intentionally fought lesser, weaker talent rosters than mine? That is where I think problems kind of happen. Is the whole idea of the system was to kind of get players that couldn't get as high to be together, and then players like me to be with other high players, other high level, high talent players. But one of my family members who just got back in the game and is really wanting to get back into it, we looked at his bracket. He was probably around the League 8, League 9 bracket. He still had, I believe, the Joe pulls, but the person in number 1 was definitely someone who shouldn't be there. Because they were higher notoriety at number 1 than my number 1 was in my bracket. So, obviously, spending is still a thing, and a variable could be doing that. But if there are higher level, higher talent people, rosters, fighting against the lower ones, intentionally not doing showdown, I think that's where the problem starts. For instance, for me, if we do this again, what if I intentionally just go lower? Instead of being the top, 30, 40 people in the entire world, what if it's in the top 1,000 or even, higher than that? As long as I'm able to stay within that 8 or ninth league brackets, I'd much rather would do that. but I feel like that's way more unfair to people who are trying to get to that point. Like they really were trying to get into that bracket. The idea I thought of this was to have higher level players go against higher level players, and lower level would go against lower level. This feels honestly worse. Of higher players are still able to actually more likely be in lower talent brackets, lower league brackets, because they can just not do showdown. Um, so I think that's kind of the biggest issue I have with this system. Like, yeah, if I'm top 1,000 now and I go against people like that, how well are you really gonna do against me, or even lower? I don't know. As long as I'm in the top that 8 league and 9 league, it wouldn't matter, right? So, but obviously, I don't want to do that. I think that's kind of disrespectful to the lower league players, but I do think it's pretty awful of an idea that someone with like 5 million plus more talent can fight someone uh, because yeah, they have their promoters probably higher, they have better overall characters, they have higher strength characters. That's not obviously what we want. They have better defenses, so they're not getting attacked as much. That's a lot of issues uh, that high level players can actually beat out compared to the lower levels, lower talents, but are trying to be in the better leagues as they can. So it just feels unfair to lower talent rosters because if you're high enough to where you can be in 8 or 9, that's where you should be, right? But someone like me can actually decide more likely what league I want to be in for that bracket and then therefore win like that. So little disappointing. Unfortunately, I think you're gonna have to go back to the talent-based bracketing and like league-based bracketing, something like that, because this just still feels very unfair, and it gives the player like me more choice of who I'm gonna see in my bracket than I ever was in the original bracket system that we had. Which is just not good. And the sucky thing too, which I definitely think is not intentional here, like if I intentionally don't do showdown, the whole point of this is you constantly build up to get, all these coins and everything and right. I mean, here's the thing. I'd rather get max amount of pulls than showdown, which means I'm intentionally not doing the daily showdown, which is obviously what they want me to do. So that's overall my issue. That's kind of my rant. I'm gonna really quickly restart the game to see if those Joe pulls are in, and we'll do a two 1 pulls for him. I highly doubt it though. Um, but if there isn't, I'm gonna end it here, just kind of with this rant, and obviously to Scopely to be like, hey, I don't think this bracket system's gonna work in the long run, at least. Showdown again this weekend with Eddie, who looks pretty good for an S tier. It looks like a really good one. That one yellow move, the increase dodge for both gem and move looks really, really strong. I'll call it right now. I think black, black, yellow, 2-click. Well, 3-click technically, but 2 black and that yellow I think is actually going to be the way to run him. We'll see though. But that's what I got for you guys. Again, anyone from Scopely is listening to this, just take this feedback. I just don't think this system's going to work out in the long run. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next one.